Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, cookies.
I didn't even turn on my microphone, so we're doing great. I said thank you to Widget and to Chessie, to Cheddar. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I love that I just recorded the intro for the podcast. And because I'm going to record this and have the always mediocre Taylor edit it for me. Hi. And I just was like, I'm going to not talk to Chad, but here we are. He can edit it out. It's fine. So today is going to look a little bit different than what it has the past few times. If you know anything about true crime, you know that in the 80s there was a real estate mogul, and his name was Robert Durst. And he actually, I believe, and so do a lot of other people, murdered his first wife, Kathleen. I watched on HBO, I think The Jinx came out in mid-2000s-ish. And it was one of the first true crime documentaries that I ever watched that ever left a lasting impact on me, or that made me realize that journalists can be the catalyst for people being put away, really terrible people being put away. And if you haven't watched The Jinx, I don't want to ruin it for you, but I want to talk to you guys about it so bad, but I can't, because there's a moment in The Jinx, and if you want to know what I'm talking about, feel free to fast forward to the very last episode. And in the very last episode, in the very last few minutes of the entirety of the series, I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes long, if I remember correctly, Robert Durst actually winds up, yeah, right, we're so sad that he's gone. It's truly terrible. But in the last few episodes last few minutes of the entire docuseries, one that he actually was like, yeah, I want to tell my side of the story for, he actually incriminates himself and says some things when he goes to the bathroom. He doesn't know his mic is hot. And it was one of the craziest times, one of the craziest documentaries, like moments in a docuseries I've ever seen. And I highly recommend you watch it. It's on HBO Max. It's called The Jinx. If you don't want to watch The Jinx, you want to watch something that's more geared towards Hollywood. What are we doing here? Guys, so the extensions that I have apparently have a natural wave to them that matches my natural wave, so that's super awesome. So I've got natural curls happening, but it makes me feel like I'm in the 80s. Anyways, so if you want to watch something that's more geared towards Hollywood, and it's prettier, and it's more condensed, and it's a little bit less real life, but a little bit easier to stomach, it is insane. You can watch the movie. It's got Ryan Gosling and Kirsten Dunst in it, and it's called All Good Things. Great movie. Fucking one of my favorite movies, hands down. But if you want to watch something that's more geared towards Hollywood and less geared towards true crime junkies like myself, go for sure. Hello. For sure, go watch All Good Things. I'm pretty sure it's called All Good Things, but it is. It's very, very, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and just like jump in and have you guys, and just kind of like tell this story for you in a way that I feel it's going to be very condensed. But it is very good. You're going to see me looking down a lot because I'm actually reading off of my trusty laptop with all of my Vine stickers. Look, there's me. And there's me. And it's freaking bats. You know what I'm saying? So, let's do this. This is going to be like a pocket-sode for you guys. If you listen to the podcast at all, you can, go listen. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is our pocket-sode. This is Robert Durst. The sources that I used are Wikipedia, Vulture, and Vanity Fair. The Vanity Fair article was probably one of the best articles I've ever read about this, about the situation. So, Robert Durst is born on April 12th, 1943 in New York City. He grows up in New York entirely, and it's pretty much entirely. Robert's the oldest of 4 kids. This comes into play because he definitely like has this kind of like entitlement about him, this I'm deserved of everything that my family had. And it was really good because the Jinx actually does a really funny thing where they title, I believe it's episode 2, is titled Poor Little Rich Boy, because his fucking lawyer is on there. It's like, you would feel bad for him. He has a story that's full of tragedy. He said from a very young age, since he was born, he had more money than he knew how to spend. I feel so bad for you, Robert. I really do. Your life is truly hard. Fuck off. So, oldest of 4 kids. His father's name is Seymour. His father is a real estate mogul. His grandfather is the one who founded Durst organization, which is a real estate company in New York. The Dursts are up there as far as real estate goes with people like the Trumps. They own 4 major buildings in New York City. Like, they have more money than you can fucking even begin to think about. Robert's mother died of what the newspapers and everyone else, because remember, like, we're in a time now, so his mom died when he was 7, so 1950-ish. Oh my god, can you not? Sorry. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Just had to do some light banning here. Super great. Now I forgot what I was saying. No, I didn't. So his mom dies in like 1950, right? So we're still in a time where we're not talking about mental health. We are not really disclosing a lot of really kind of shitty things that are happening behind closed doors of family situations. The newspapers and everything said that his mom died from a fall, an accidental fall. Robert claims that his father came and got him. Again, he's 7. His father comes and gets him, says, hey, we're gonna go see mommy. Says that his father takes him to the window, where he then exactly. Sorry, for the podcast who doesn't know, someone just hit on me and asked me to take my clothes off on stream, which, like, you don't want to see that. I look like the Pillsbury Doughboy. And I had to ban him. And then Widget responded with, troll in the dungeon. There's a troll in the dungeon. And honestly, that's what I appreciate about you. Okay, so Robert claims his father came and got him, took him to the window where he watched his mom jump from the roof of the family home. His brother says that never happened. He was never there. Would like to state that when Robert was younger, him and his brother actually had to go... Oh, sorry. Emery's making cookies. Actually, I'm not sorry for that. Do you guys hear the sound of my child baking? Because it's really working out for me. So, him and his brother had to go to counseling because apparently they were so competitive with each other that it became an issue in the family. Like, these two could not get along, him and his next brother under him. When in doing so, the psychiatrist that he was seeing in 1953 actually documented that Robert was displaying some kind of personality disorder, and at the time, schizophrenia is not really understood or talked about a lot or anything like that. However, they definitely, hi mom. The doctor did note that they thought that he was exhibiting some kind of schizophrenia. Never came up again. I don't think he ever went to therapy for it or anything like that, but that is something that I read online. Robert was considered a loner in high school. He went on to get his bachelor's degree in economics, which makes sense. His family is this huge, you know, real estate mogul, and he's, you know, damn near pretty much inheriting the family business at that point in time. At this point in time, there is nothing to say that anything nefarious has happened or anything is happening in his brain that is going to cause anyone to think anything else, right? Gets his degree with, however, comma, Robert shows zero interest in going into the family business. He winds up going to Vermont and opening a small health food store that he called All Good Things, which is where they got the title of the movie from. And this is in the early 70s. He actually winds up closing it by 1973 when his dad had a hand in him moving back to New York City and kind of taking part again in the family business. So he does wind up working for the family. Initially, this is not what he wants to do. It's just not his jam. Yeah, it's a food store. It's not his jam. Are you joking? Oh, hilarious. Hey, Taco! Once everything happens, and so I'm going to kind of, this part, I just want to wrap up the family issue right now, and then we're going to go back to 1971, okay? Because of everything that happens in this, in everything that I'm about to tell you, his family is like, you can't fucking run the family business. Like, this is bad for us. You're making us look bad. Like, you cannot have a part in this now. Congratulations, you suck. Again, very entitled. Does not like his brother. Because of his actions, his later actions, his dad actually appoints his brother to take over the family business. And this sends Robert into a fucking tailspin. He winds up suing his family for his share of the company. This is in 2006, so this is like much later. Winds up suing his family for his share of the company and is bought out of the business for $65 million. You know, chump change. All right, so we're gonna back up now. Now we're going back. We're back. We're in the 70s. That's why I'm dressed like this. I was just like, we're feeling very 70s, but my hair was 280, so I put it up in a ponytail. Okay, so it's fall of 1971 when Kathleen McCormick, I don't know if it's pronounced McCormick or McCormack. We're gonna say McCormack. She's 19 when she meets the man that I believe ultimately ended her life. She was a dental hygienist who pretty much, her family just didn't have a lot. So to her, she's meeting Robert, right? She actually meets Robert because she goes to drop off her rent check to him. His family owns the building, and he winds up being her landlord. Her family does not come from a lot. They are your typical large Irish American family, lots of kids, lots of family get-togethers, very close. To her, this man looks like Prince Charming, and from what everyone says, he came off that way. He was quiet and he was reserved, but when he spoke, you listened, and to her, that was enamoring. So she meets him, and within going on a date, they went on 2 dates before Robert Durst actually invites her. I love this. This is the move. Robert Durst actually invites her to move into his home in Vermont, where he owns all good things. And she accepts that. She winds up moving in January of 1972. So it's like very much a whirlwind. Start to finish, they are just in love with each other. And that's what everyone said. It appeared that they were, in fact, fucking head over heels for each other. And they probably were. But this, like, to me, in my brain, hey, baby. In my brain, this is like, everything to me when I'm reading this, like 2 dates and you're like, hey, fucking move in, that's love bombing. Like, you are love bombing her. And it is said that he did have a temper and he was kind of manipulative, so this makes sense to me in my brain. Not a therapist, so I can't really, say that confidently. So she moves in 1972, and all I can think also is like, what is this, a military relationship? Jesus. After his father insisted that he moved, they both moved. So whenever his dad's like, hey, you need to move back to the city, she is already living with him. And so they both moved back to Manhattan. They wind up getting married. Remember, he's 10 years her senior, right? They wind up getting married on Robert's 30th birthday on April 12th, 1973. I would like to say that things are not all sunshine and rainbows for them now at this point in time. And this happened pretty early in their relationship. He hid it for not very long before he became pretty abusive. He's controlling. He doesn't like her leaving. He doesn't like the idea of her, because she went to school to also be a nurse. He doesn't like her independence. It does not sit well with him. The more independent she would become, the more mentally, emotionally, and physically abusive he would become. He hit her on several accounts, and when he did, he didn't want her to go to school, and she was talking to her friend about it, and her friend was like, hey, this is like fucking not okay. She was like, no, he just lost his temper. He just lost his temper. And she wanted kids, and he did not want kids. Well, they wound up pregnant, and he wound up forcing her to get an abortion at one point. Eventually her friends, because she realizes in the 80s, like we're getting to the 80s, don't you fucking bark, get away, go, sorry. Don't do it, go lay down. So we're in the 80s, late 70s. She realizes like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to get a divorce. And so once this happens, she goes, oh, I signed a prenup. I'm going to leave this almost 10-year marriage with zero things, right? But because he's been abusing her, her friend is like, if you're planning on leaving, you have got to go and you have got to document this, Kathleen. And Kathleen's like, you know what? You're right. So one night he hits her. He hits her enough that she does wind up going to the Bronx and being treated for lacerations on her face and whatnot. So he hit her enough that it caused facial lacerations, which is not super fun. Straight up not good. Like straight up not great. Not very cash money of him, you know what I'm saying? So she documents the abuse because of the prenup, essentially, and she literally would tell her friends things like, if anything happens to me, don't let Robert get away with it. She told her neighbor at one point in time, if anything happens to me, suspect foul play. She knows what is in her future. Like, she's got a pretty good intuition that something may or may not happen to her, and should it's going to be Robert's fault. But mind you, remember, he's got, for all intents and purposes, like, we're in late 70s, mid 70s, women still don't have a whole lot of marital rights, and there were a lot of things that were happening behind closed doors that people just wouldn't talk about because it made them uncomfortable. Well, like, imagine how uncomfortable a woman feels who's getting the shit beat out of her by this man who has all of this money in this mogul family. It's said that he actually he pulled her out of her family gathering. She's got 2 older brothers, by the way. Pulls her out of a family gathering by her hair in front of her family because this man really and truly believes that he is untouchable. So, America's hero. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the abuse and things like that were actually, hello, Shorty. Hello. A lot of the abuse and stuff like that was centered, again, around the fact that Kathleen just wanted her own deal. Like, she realized very quickly that they were not going to have kids after he forced the abortion on her. And she wanted to run her own pediatric clinic. And this did not sit well with him. He did not like the idea of her having any kind of independence. In 1982, Kathleen is in her senior year of med school in the Bronx when she goes missing. The night of January 31st, 1982, Kathy attends a dinner party at her friend's house. I can't pronounce her friend's name, so I'm not even going to try because I'm going to butcher it. I'm gonna call her Gil. She attended the dinner party. I'm so sorry. I have been up for so long and I worked out twice and I'm so tired. But I saw this and I needed to do a mini-sode for you guys. Okay, sorry. So, she attends a dinner party at her friend Gail's house in Newtown, Connecticut. Robert called and apparently was upset. Kathy was like, hey, I gotta go. Robert's a fucking dick. Right? And so she leaves. This is the last time that any of her friends, aside from Robert, sees Kathleen alive. It wasn't until 4 days later, that Robert Durst reports his wife missing. If I went missing and Bryce waits 4 days, let's all send him hate mail. Okay? 4 days? Come on. A lot can happen in 24 hours. 4 fucking days? He goes to the police station with his dog, too, by the way. Igor. He claims that he didn't find it unusual because she would typically go a few days without talking to him. Mind you, okay, back up. So they're living in separate apartments. They're living in separate apartments at the time. And sometimes, so they had like a cottage that she would stay at whenever it was closer to her nursing school, right? Once she started going to school in the Bronx, she started staying at the house more, but he would still go stay at the cottage sometimes. Come to find out, he had been having an affair for like the last 3 years of their marriage. So he was kind of using that as his escape, and she was also using it as escape. So it wasn't unusual, honestly, for them to be separated. But when this happened, she was living in their New York apartment, and he was living in a separate apartment. Just to clarify for you guys. Okay, so he says it wasn't unusual that he hadn't heard from her. It's Thursday now and he hadn't heard from her on Sunday. He says this isn't usual because when she would be doing clinicals and things like that, she just wouldn't talk to him. Seems plausible, right? His account of the night went that she went missing. It changed a few times. So he said instead of returning to their apartment in the city, mind you, again, they're in the midst of a separation at the time, she went to their South Salem cottage, drank a bottle of wine. They got into an argument. He winds up driving her to the train station in Katona so that she could catch the 9:15 train back to Manhattan so she could stay in the apartment. He claims that they talked again before she went to bed, and that was the last time they spoke. And like, okay, Robbie, because in the documentary The Jinx, he actually says, yeah, I fucking lied to the cops. I just told them that because I thought that if I said that, it meant that they would just leave me alone. He says in The Jinx, like, I didn't expect them to go check on anything. I didn't expect them to double check my alibi. He straight up says, like, I had no idea that they would do, like, in my mind, I said this, so, like, this should be a thing. Like, of course the person who fucking caused their wife to went missing thinks this. Like, you are such a smug, he's such a smug piece of shit. And, like, I'm sorry, Robert, but that's not how murder investigations work. It's not how murder investigations work at all, friend. Like, they look at everybody. So, after McCormick left her friend's house, she leaves Gil's house. The two were supposed to meet at a pub in Manhattan that's called Lionsgate, right? When she doesn't show up, her friend's like, because she left a notebook at her house, and so she's supposed to get her notebook from her friend. When she doesn't show up, her friend, because the whole time she's been like, hey, if anything happens to me, Robbie's sus. He's suspicious. The song Don't Be Suspicious, he's the opposite of that. He's like, I am suspicious. I am suspicious. Like, that's just what he's saying over and over and over and over again, right? So just assume that that's what's happening. So she winds up repeatedly calling the police and being like, hey, she's missing. Hey, she's missing. Hey, she's missing. She calls him. She calls Robert. Robert never calls her back. Doesn't fucking mention anything to her at all. This guy is trash. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I'm reading and talking at the same time, and there's no one here to add in. Okay, so again, later that week, he winds up filing. It's not until she's called a billion times. Mind you, this man has so much money. Okay, so like what I'm about to tell you, I think that these people have been paid off. I really do think that they've been paid off because we gonna get there, baby. Okay, so both a doorman and the building superintendent of the apartment claims that they both saw McCormick. They both see Kathy. on February 1st, which is the day after she was last seen by everyone else. Okay? But the doorman also says that he only saw her from behind. And it was like half a block away, so like, could it have been her? Now, Robert Durst, who I don't know what his thinking was, hires a. He is just so fucking, like, he truly believes that money can get him out of everything. So he's, in my eyes, he's throwing his money everywhere. He hires his own private investigator. Okay. 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 Oh, well, his lawyer hires his own personal investigator. It is later reported that the doorman had not seen her at all whatsoever, and probably wasn't even working the night that she went missing, or the day that she went missing. 3 weeks after she's gone, okay, because he's sticking to the story that she just like ran away and abandoned him. 3 weeks later, the superintendent finds her possessions in the building's trash compactor. It took him 3 weeks to throw away her stuff. If I'm just missing and something nefarious has happened and Bryce is throwing my shit away for 3 weeks, again, send him hate mail. If you see Severus in the trash, serious. Severus. If you see Severus in the trash, sorry, I had another stink plant named Sirius. It's dead now. I didn't do it. Never mind, I'm not going to get into that. You see this in the trash, everyone send Bryce hate mail. Hey, thanks for the follow. It comes out later that Kathy actually had asked Durst for a $250,000 divorce settlement, which seems like chump change. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up seems like chump change. Durst actually instead winds up canceling his wife's credit card, removing her name from their joint bank account, and will not help pay for her medical tuition or for her medical school tuition at all. So that's like super fun. We love that for us. When she went missing, Durst had been dating Prudence Farrow for 3 years at the time and is living in a separate apartment. When she goes missing, he offers like $100,000 for her return or something like that. And then he reduces the $100,000 to $15,000. Like, what? So at this point in time, her friends, who she's very close with, wind up breaking into the cottage. And they're like, maybe she is there. Like, maybe we're going to give Robert the benefit of the doubt. We're going to say she's there and he hasn't done anything wrong. And they break in. They do not find her. Instead, they find that the cottage has been ransacked. The mail is not opened. And all of her belongings are in the trash. And it sucks to read that, and just like, because I know that if I went missing, like, and my friends found that, it would be rough. There's not a lot that happens in between after that. Like, that is Kathleen's missing and no one can find any evidence of anything, and it's all just very sus. Again, there is documented abuse at this point in time. 8 years later, Durst winds up divorcing her, saying that she abandoned him. Her family ends up having to ask to have Kathy declared legally dead, which is pretty hard, I think, as a family to have to make that decision. So they attempt to sue him for $1 million. But they don't know what to sue him for because they don't have a fucking body and they don't have any evidence. All they have is the character of who he was and what he did to her. And so they're like, you denied us and deprived us of being able to even bury our sister. So they try and sue him for money, and nothing happens really. Her younger sister also obviously believes that he murdered her. The case is quietly reopened in 1999. It becomes public then in 2000. Nothing comes of it. I know that I sound kind of defeated when I'm saying this, because I am defeated, because I mean, I know what happens. I do. I know what happens. I know that something comes of it, but I just like feel so fucking bad for her family. Like the fact that her family had to wait so long. So we're almost done with Kathy. But don't worry, there's more. It's August 2019 when one of Kathy's sisters, Carol, files a wrongful death suit. It's dismissed because they said she waited too long to file the lawsuit. The 2018 Court of Appeals had already revised the exact date of Kathy's death to match the date that she actually disappeared in January of 1982. So this part I'm going to kind of skip a little bit of it because you're gonna hear about it. He winds up going to trial for something else. After this happens, the Westchester County District Attorney actually announces that Kathy's disappearance has been reclassified as a murder and it will be reinvestigated, which is fucking cool. In October of 2021, I have to skip that part because I don't want to tell you guys again. I don't know why I even wrote this in here. He winds up being officially charged in 2021, October 22nd of 2021 with Kathy's death. So he does wind up being held accountable for her death, which I think is really great. But that's not all. That's not all that this man does. And this is why I just know that he is the most smug person I've ever met in my life, because he didn't just kill Kathy. He kills 2 more people. One of them was one of his best friends. If you guys want a more definitive, more complete story to this, watch The Jinx. If anyone is in here who doesn't know who I am Homies and Homicide. I have a podcast. You can listen to it anywhere you listen to podcasts. And we talk about true crime, which is what we're doing right now. Okay, so now we're going to move on to I said it was going to be a pocket soap, but it's already 37 minutes, so it's going to be pretty long. But these ones are a little bit shorter than that one is. We're moving on to the murder of Susan Berman. Susan was actually a longtime friend of Durst who he met in college. He was absolutely enamored by her as well. Everything was super platonic the entire time, but these two just got on so well. Like, they were such good friends. They hung out all the time. Oh, she is not. I'm sad that she's gone. I'm sad that she died in the way that she did. She was the daughter of a 1940s gangster, apparently, who operated the Flamingo Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Okay. Berman is found murdered, execution style, in her home in Los Angeles. Her neighbors call the cops. She is actually the one who facilitated an alibi for Robert Durst after Kathy went missing. So she was like doing what I guess she thought was best, being a ride or die, and being like, oh no, he was fucking with me. I was on the phone with him, like blah blah blah, yada yada. And it's like, ma'am, we don't do that here. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my friends, but like, I'm not trying to go to jail for them. So a few days after she is found murdered, a letter actually addressed to the Beverly Hills Police Department that was sent allegedly on December 23rd, gets to the police department, has Berman's address in it, and just the word cadaver. The word Beverly is misspelled. Beverly is traditionally spelled Beverly. It is misspelled as Beverley. So that's going to be really important. Robert Durst was in Northern California a few days before she was killed. He flew to San Francisco from New York the night before her body was discovered. Berman had recently received $50,000 from Durst in 2 payments. Which, like, seems sus. He said that he had sent Berman $25,000 and faxed the investigators, don't be suspicious, No, I'm telling you, the whole time he's not saying don't be suspicious. He's saying, I am suspicious, I am suspicious. So sus is right. Sus as fuck, dude. Suspish, if you will. If our Lord and Savior Bailey. Suspish. He does not want to be questioned any further about her murder. He states in 2005 deposition that she actually wound up calling him shortly before her death and wanted to talk about Kathy's disappearance. It's a whole fucking mess. On October 31st, 2000, after being tipped off by his sister Wendy that my brain is not working right now. I didn't take any of my Ritalin today. I'm not doing great. Composure. Okay, so his sister calls him. His sister's like, hey, they just reopened Kathy's fucking investigation, right? He winds up going into hiding and moving to Galveston, Texas. And he then... Not only does he move to Galveston, Texas, okay? The man moves to Galveston, Texas, and dresses and disguises himself as a mute woman. Do not bark, sir. No. God, lay down. Hey, word to the wise, don't get a hound dog. No, don't paw at me. Don't paw at me, sir. I just feel like you're being very rude right now. I've got things to do. I can't deal with you. I just threw a ring at your brother. No, don't eat that. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Moves to Galveston, Texas. He disguises himself as a mute woman to avoid being questioned at all. He was like, not only am I mute, but I'm also a woman. He is not the best Noi, okay? He's an annoying Noi. Second best boy. Everyone thinks that, so Kathy's dead. This is his best friend. There's a lot that goes into that you find out in the Jinx that they ask him about. They really question him about it. So moves to Galveston, mute woman. Everyone thinks that he killed her because she just knew too much. Like, he really was very open with her, and she was starting to feel kind of fucked up about it. Which, don't give him an alibi then. Which brings us to 2001, when Robert Durst moves to Galveston, Texas. Sir, I am not going to hold your hand. I am busy. You're embarrassing me in front of my followers. I can't deal with him right now. Does anyone want a dog? He's Toot-ish. Toot-esque. He's a good tuddler, but he stinks like a hound dog. I'm busy. Get out of here. I'm busy. Stop it. I said I'm busy. Oh my god, I can't do this. It's so embarrassing. So, 2001, it's October 9th, 2001, when Robert Durst is actually arrested in Galveston. Okay, so, like, this is not far between his friend winding up murdered. Alright, so December 24th is when her body is found. So, a year later, he kind of hangs out in Galveston. And he's arrested after the body parts belonging to his neighbor, Morris Black, are found floating in Galveston Bay. Like, this, and you see it in the document. Like, what did I watch? Was it the Jinx? Sir, stop holding my hand. I believe it's a different documentary. It might not be the Jinx, but you see them, like, pulling the body parts out of the fucking water. it like chopped up, dismembered. And I'm sorry, but if you're dismembering somebody, you're a fucking psychopath. Sir, I cannot deal with you right now. Go. 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 I will not scratch your belly. Oh my god, you guys. Can't deal with him. Okay, so they're found floating in Galveston Bay. He's released on bail, right? And at this point in time, everyone's calling everyone because I want to say the New York prosecutor saw him and was like, oh, fuck. This is our guy. Like, you have to get him. He's released on bail. He misses a court hearing on October 16th, and a warrant is issued for his arrest. On November 30th, he's caught inside of a Wegmans supermarket in Pennsylvania after trying to shoplift Band-Aids, a newspaper, and a chicken salad sandwich, though he had $500 of cash in his pocket. I just, like, if you're gonna be low-key, okay, you're trying to be low-key, right? Maybe, like, don't shoplift if you have $500 on your person. I don't want to say it's not a good idea, but also, you guys, like, I've never murdered anybody, and I don't know. I don't like it. I wouldn't do it, but, like, you know what? It's not me. It's not my fucking crime. You do you. It clearly didn't work out. So I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to say, if I have $500 on me, don't shoplift chicken salad sandwich. Also, or a chicken salad sandwich. It's probably not going to be very good. It's from a Wegmans. Sorry. So, a police search of his rental car finds $37,000 in cash, 2 guns, pot. Oh, he smoked a lot, by the way. He smoked a lot of weed. He also burped and farted a lot, which sounds so weird, but I guess he would do it when he would get nervous. He burps a lot when he gets nervous, and people talked about it all the time. He just, like, was a very gassy person, I guess. Anyways, they found Morris Black's driver's license, and they found directions to Gil's house in Connecticut. Her friend Gil. Her friend that, like, was doing all the searching and, like, hey, no, you fucking murdered my best friend. That friend. So, he also would stalk his brother Douglas, who's the one who took over the family, to the point where his brother got a fucking, like, restraining order against him. And they asked him, they were like, are you scared of him? And he's like, yeah, my brother's a fucking psychopath. Like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm fucking scared of him. So, Stage 5 Klinger is right. This man is crazy. Like, he is ready to take down anybody who has spoken illy of him or out against him or any of that. He winds up hiring a defense lawyer while he's held on charges in Pennsylvania. He was eventually extradited. Sorry, my bra is hurting me. You're welcome for having to see this, guys. He's extradited to Texas for trial. He's tried for the murder. I wrote a lot, but I feel like we don't need to know all of this. It's gonna be quiet for just a minute. Sorry, I'm trying to read through what I wrote. They did try, this is important. They did try and say that he had Asperger's and use that to get him out of his, of everything. He wound up claiming that Black tried to grab his .22 caliber pistol from its hiding place and threatened him with it. He claims that there was a struggle and the pistol discharged and shot him in the face. Okay, first of all, your best friend was just shot execution style and you think for even half of a second we're going to believe this? The head was never recovered, by the way. The rest of the body was. The head is never. They were unable to present forensic evidence enough to say, to dispute the fact that they got into an altercation or anything like that. As a result of a lack of forensics, this is like word for word from Wiki, by the way, guys. As a result of lack of forensics, the jury acquitted Durst of murder on November 11th, 2003. On December 21st, 2004, he pleads guilty to 2 counts of bail jumping and 1 count of evidence tampering for him dismembering his body. Okay, so this man does not go to jail for dismembering him. And it's like, I feel like that's something you should go to jail for, but like, what do I know? Or he does go to jail, but it's like a super short time. He actually receives a sentence of 5 years and is given credit for time served, requiring him to serve 3 years in prison. Sorry. He winds up violating his parole. I don't know why I went into such detail. Not Tired Amanda was on a completely different level than what Tired Amanda's on. He runs into somebody at the mall where he was not supposed to be. In terms of his parole, we're just like, he's supposed to stay away from the entire area, like stay near his house. And he had to be given permission to travel. Well, he went back to the boarding house where he wound up killing Black, goes to the mall, winds up running into the judge who proceeded over the case. So violates his terms of parole, goes back to jail. He's released from custody on March 1st, 2006. Which is just absolutely insane. Okay. This is a lot. It really is. The Jinx documentary happens in between then, right? They wind up in the Jinx documentary, and I have to tell you this because I mentioned that Beverly is spelled wrong in the letter that was sent from Susan Berman's home. Beverly is spelled a very kind of specific way. I said it was early 2000s, but it's 2015. So like not too long ago, but please watch it. Anyways, they talk to his wife in the documentary, all that good stuff. The final episode is broadcasted. Okay. Again, if you haven't seen The Jinx, go watch it. Specifically watch the last episode in the last few minutes where he fucking condemns himself because the FBI arrests Durst in New Orleans on the same day that the final episode is broadcasted. Piece of shit. So, it was reported that a March 1999 letter from Durst to Berman discovered that her stepson had turned over the filmmakers, or discovered a letter from Durst to Berman as his stepson gave to the filmmakers during their research that provided new key evidence leading to filing the murder charges of Durst. What was in that is not known. The spelling of Beverly, though, the misspelling of Beverly is the same on the letter to her. So the letter he sent her, Beverly, is misspelled. The same way that it was misspelled in the letter telling people where Susan Berman was. They ask him in the Jinx, they show him, and they go, hey, is this your handwriting? Because it's the letter. And he's like, yeah. And so they wound up blowing that up and then blowing up the letter, putting them next to each other. And they go, okay, well, this is how Beverly is spelled here. Can you tell us which one of these you didn't write? And he just looks at it and goes, no. I'm sorry, what? I am like, mind you, I'm watching this and I'm riveted because this is like oh God, you guys, you have to watch it. You've got to go watch it. You have to go watch it. You have to go watch it now. Now, if you're not going to do anything, you're going to do this tonight, okay? Because it's very important. So, first degree murder charge warrant is signed in relation to Durst killing Susan Berman. He's arrested. He winds up, all in all, he winds up going to jail, guys. He goes to jail for the murder of Susan Berman. He gets a firearm charge against him. Yeah. So that's like pretty fucking cool. I know that was really anticlimactic, but I really want you to go watch The Jinx so bad. And anything that I tell you is not going to do its service. I'm not going to lie to you. So, his trial isn't until 2020, by the way. Like, his trial happens in 2020 because they just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I'm trying to find exactly what it was that he got for you guys. They keep trying to halt the case, basically. October 14th, 2021, Durst is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for Susan Berman's murder. He tried to get another trial, but they, like, put it off for years, obviously, and he was denied it. So there's an abundance of evidence in the case, which I did not tell you about because I think that I might do Susan Berman's murder in a separate case and just do this. I think I might do this entire thing in its entirety, like, later, but more detailed. Ouch. Ouch. Sorry. So yeah, he winds up fucking going to jail. While in jail, obviously, he you know, gets put on, or gets pinned with the murder of his wife. There were other murders and disappearances and things like that this man was accused of that I haven't even began to look into because it's just so much. Was Robert Durst a serial killer and we don't know it? Because it was like 2 people went missing in Vermont the same time that he was there, in association with All Good Things. So in association with his food store, they go missing. But if you have enough money, you can pay enough people to not talk about anything. Until now, when we go, I don't give a fuck how much money you have. You're being a fucking dick. You're being a fucking dick. Don't be a dick. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear it. So yeah, that's Robert Durst. He died today. To say that I am not sad about it would be an understatement because this guy's a fucking monster. And there's nothing I hate more than privileged, self-important white men. There's really few things that I hate more than that. Slavery, hated that. That was pretty sus. I saw the funniest fucking TikTok today. It was like, what's one thing that happened before COVID that you would never do now that you think's okay? And the guy was like, well, I was gonna say blowing out birthday candles. Don't do it. Go. You're not gonna yell at people out there. He was like, I was gonna say blowing out birthday candles, but slavery was pretty sus. I laughed for like 5 minutes after that because he's not wrong. So yeah, that's my mini episode. So now I'm just gonna like hang out with you guys for a minute and chillsies because I look adorable. I looked like a fucking bridge troll all day. But here we are, guys. Here we are. Let me go stop my Audacity recording first because I have the audacity to not stop it. So yeah, I don't know if you guys, if you guys haven't, seriously, watch The Jinx. We can watch it together. We'll all talk about it. We'll all discuss it. It's just wild to me that this man, like, went... Thanks. I need water. I'm being like a racehorse today. Because I've drank 1,000 of these. Let us all thank Ghost... Extract the Ghost for this new Starbucks cup that he bought me and didn't know that he bought me. Really, what happened is I went to go get the kids... I went to go get the children food. Did I go get them food? I went to go get them something from Starbucks, and then I was like, oh, well, this looks like a geode, and it's pretty and shiny. So here we are. Thanks, B. So yeah. Watch The Jinx. and then watch everything else to do with Robert Durst, and then watch All Good Things, because it's such a good movie. I mean, it's got Ryan Gosling in it. Ryan Gosling makes a great bad guy, in case you guys are wondering. He makes a terrifying bad guy. Hello, sir. This dog is insatiable. He's incorrigible. He's gonna sit here all night until he gets to give all of his borks to the outside world. He really is. I'm recording on Wednesday. He makes a great guy. He does. Ryan Gosling makes a great human in general. Makes a great bad guy, though. He makes a great villain. Played a great Robert Durst. Robert Durst hated that movie, by the way, because it didn't portray him in the light that he thought. And that's my favorite part of the Jinx, too, is they were like, why are you talking now? And he was like, well, I want to tell the story my way. That didn't work out for you guys. Like, this did not go the way you thought it was gonna go. You've seen this film before. You are not gonna like the ending. So, yep. I'm recording on Wednesday with Chetta Bob, Chetta Chelsea. We are going to record more about the Long Island serial killer, which I don't know if Taylor's editing or not. You guys are going to love it. If you don't know anything about the Long Island serial killer, you're about to know everything, because that is my obsession. The Long Island serial killer, to me, is what the Golden State Killer was to Michelle McNamara. I'm obsessed. I want to see it solved more than anything in the world. I just watched a really great show called Unraveled. It's got Billy Jensen. If you listen to true crime podcasts, then you probably have listened to The Crime Squad, I think is what it's called. Is it called Crime Squad? I don't know. It's fucking Paul Holes and Billy Jensen, and I love them a lot. If you haven't read Billy Jensen's book, it's not over there because actually it is right there. Chase Darkness with Me. Great book. Highly recommend. Alright, guys. I'm gonna hop off of here. I'm gonna go do my research. I just remembered that I have to finish researching so that I can record on Wednesday, because tomorrow I'm gonna be in the fucking salon all day long. So, thanks for hanging out with me and listening to my true crime things and being the best followers and listeners and friends that a girl could ask for. I love you. And I have merch up on Stream Elements. Oh, Martha Moxley is so good. I looked it up, by the way. Wild. Merch for sale on Stream Elements. You can find it in my About section. All of the money. Jensen and Holes, the Murder Squad. Yes, Murder Squad. So good. All of the money from all the profits from the merch bot goes to keeping the podcast up and running. So go whore me out to your friends. Go share me with your friends. And hopefully they like me and then they'll buy merch. Or you can buy merch. Do one or the other. Follow me on all of my social medias. And I think that's it. All right, guys. I love you. I'll see you next time. I'll be on again this week. Probably, I'll probably try and hop on here with Chelsea. Maybe we'll record the episode live so you guys can watch us talk to each other, because that would be pretty cool. Right. Happy Monday. Happy start to the week. You made it. We're here. We're crushing it. I will see you next time. Okay. Bye.